And another job ticked off the list, not completely finished and ready yet, but very close. This is going to be the home studio, basically. Self-contained room with everything in it except the laptop, which I'll bring up as and when I want to use the room. However, I could use the room for playing the instruments for enjoyment and practice without the laptop. Actually, no, I can't. Right, so I put the drum kit here, found an old rug from the other house that stops the pedals, because the pedals creep if you've got heavy feet, and they can scratch the floor. It's a wooden floor, or wooden laminate floor. I don't doubt if it's real wood, not in this place. But I've set that up so the drum kit's usable. Needs a good dust, but then, you know, that doesn't stop it working. So that's the drum kit organised. I've got my keyboards. That does need to plug into that laptop. That's makes no sound. All it does is produce electronic signals, so it needs some software to interpret that. So that does need to plug into the laptop. My acoustic guitar lives in the corner. That gets little used, but it might get picked up now and again and used as backing. My bass and my 6-string are on their stand, easily accessible now, and my guitar amp's living under there. That's plugged in. All I've got to do is turn it on if I want to use it. Now obviously the two guitars will play direct into that amp that's got a million effects on it and things like that. You get almost any sound you want. But in addition to that, I've got my converter box up here. What that does is take a signal either from a microphone, which that's my microphone. It'll either take an input from a microphone or from these electric guitars, and it converts it into a USB input to the laptop, which can then go into the software to record it. So there's choices there. The guitars can play through that direct into the laptop and not need the amplifier. And then there's plugins in the software on the laptop to change the sounds. You know, if I wanted you know, a sort of distorted sound on the guitar, I can do that with a plug-in, or I can use the guitar amp and use it on there and plug the guitar amp into there and then into the laptop. So choices. So the only thing I haven't set up, that's basically because it's fiddly, is the sound system. Now that's a theatre sound system, so it's got a subwoofer and 4 satellite speakers. That needs an external sound card to plug into the laptop to actually fire it, to actually get it to work. And I haven't got one at the moment because I was never using it, because I've got a sound bar downstairs to go with the TV and the laptop if I need it, so this all got packed up. But to reinstate it, I need an external sound card, which I donated to the Wessex Orchid Society, so I'd need to get another one. And they're not expensive, I just need to get it. But that would only get used for playback or foldback out of the laptop. The laptop's got speakers on it, and I have headphones, which virtually all of the things that go on in here will be via the headphones, apart from that, because that doesn't plug in. And over here I've got a mountain of leads, some of which haven't even been opened yet, and some of which were got by mistake and probably will never get used. But I can connect virtually anything to anything up here with extension leads and everything, so should be okay. If I want to record the drums, then obviously I need a lead to go from the drum controller across either direct into the laptop or via the sound box and into the laptop. Choices, yeah? And can listen on the headphones. The headphones can either be plugged into that or they can be plugged into the laptop. So I can do almost anything up here as far as getting noise onto the laptop and being able to record it. So yeah, we're getting there. As I said, that sound system, the theatre sound system, the subwoofer will go under the table, The two front speakers, is there 2 or 3? I think there's 3 front speakers. They would have to go on this table because there's nowhere else to put them, and I'd be sitting here anyway, so that's fine. It's the 2 rear speakers that are the problem, because to get that true theatre sound, well, one needs to go there, one needs to go there, and there's nowhere really to put them, nowhere to hang them, and then I've got wires all over the place. So I might just put the rear speakers under the table, so that they're in effect, they're creating some sound, but then it's not real because it's not behind me. And at the end of the day, the sound card that I would get to go onto the laptop into that system only actually produces 3 signals anyway. It produces a left and a right and a subwoofer. So although that is a theatre sound system, I wouldn't be able to feed it with theatre sound. So 2 of the speakers would be redundant in effect. So I'll have a go at setting that up in the not too distant. And then I can bring the laptop up and make sure everything is connectable. Everything talks to everything, and the laptop is capable of recording whatever noises I want to put into it from whatever source. And then we're up and running. Then all I've got to do is learn to play the 6th string, remember where the hell the notes are on my bass, get me feet and hands untangled to work the drum kit, and work out how the hell the recording software actually works, because that's complicated. It's basically just a multi-track system. You start a project basically, which is like a recording, and you feed stuff into a track. And then if you want another track, you feed it into the next track down, and it layers. So you end up with a many layered track. You can have up to, I don't think there's a limit even. And then obviously you balance all of those tracks. They've each got their own volume control. You've each got their own plug-in sound controllers if necessary. You've even got a metronome on there to make sure that the multi-tracks as you play them are in time with what's already there. So, you know, it's quite clever. But as I said, it is quite complicated to use. And then when you've finally got all your tracks and you're happy with what you've put into the recorder, you sort of correlate all of those tracks together in a single stereo soundtrack. Yeah, so that's what's going to go on in here. And I'm hoping that apart from using that software, some fun can be had in here through the headphones. So that I always sort of think, you know, if you're learning to play something or trying to get something right and you're practicing stuff like that, if you do it through the headphones, there's no embarrassment factor. You're not worrying about anybody else hearing you. So you can make as many bum notes as you like and it doesn't matter. So we're nearly there, we're nearly set up. We've just got that sound system to do. And as I said, it's not even necessary because the playback and foldback from whatever I'm recording can just go out of the laptop into the headphones. So, you know, I could do without it if I had to. So we could say it is sort of ready to go. Yeah, I'm pleased with that. It only took about an hour fiddling around and unpacking stuff and taking stuff out of this room that wasn't wanted and putting it in the junk room. Sorry, Hannah's bedroom. Anyway, so yeah, a home studio or fun music room. I need to keep adding that word fun in because at the moment I'm frightened to death of all this lot. I mean, I'm not a very good drummer, but I can lay down something that would be suitable for a track. I can play bass, I've earned my living doing that in the past. I can strum a bit and fiddle around on a 6th string, and I can play some basic chords and one-line tunes on keyboards. And the keyboards would probably only be used for backing anyway, for filling, you know, to sort of fill out sound and stuff. So yeah, the more I use the stuff, the better I'll get at it. So yeah. Session number 1 in here is unpredictable. It might be 2 months' time, it might be 2 days' time. It'll be when I'm in the mood. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, bitty clip number 1. Right, bitty clip number 2 is an unboxing. I know what's in it. It's nothing exciting, it's certainly not orchids. The contents of the package that have caused all the problems, that's taken 2.5 weeks to get here. The first time it was dispatched, it got stuck at the couriers. I eventually queried it, and the seller queried it with the courier, and it was deemed lost, so the seller sent it again. I was thinking to myself at the time, well, if I order it from somebody else, I've still got to wait. I just as well let that person send it again, as it wasn't directly their fault that it didn't get to me. So they sent it again, and it got stuck at the couriers, and it took 3 attempts to deliver it. The first 2 attempts they said I wasn't in when I was, so they didn't ring the bell. And I know what some of those drivers are like. If it looks slightly difficult, they throw the package in the back of the van and say there was nobody in. What this driver didn't realise is there's security cameras on that gate. If nobody comes to the gate, we can tell. We can tell who comes as well. Anyway, since ordering it, we've decided that there's some orchids to go. So this standard large size drip tray I don't actually need anymore, because I'll have loads of spares, won't I? But I got some large ones, and those are specifically for the Cymbidium pots, which are obviously quite a bit bigger, and they don't sit in that size very well. They do that because they're on the rim. So that was in package number 1. Didn't bother doing an unboxing for that. So what's in package number 2 then? Oh, that's hot. Oh, of course it is, Stuart. You just poured it out of the kettle. Right. Some of the packaging from some of these firms is getting very iffy. You know, there's some of the packaging arrives in a nice, good quality cardboard box with a proper top. This is just pieces of cardboard wrapped round and stuck together to try and make a box. This didn't start out as a box, I don't think. It started out as pieces of other boxes. Anyway, as long as it protects it, stops it getting broken. Now tomorrow I have an option to go to a bonsai auction, but the downside of that is it is a Sunday. If I do the bonsai auction, I'm not going to be able to do my Sunday chat. I'd have to leave it till Monday, so I'm not too happy about doing that. That's a very regular and popular video. In addition to that, it's not too far away. It's only about 30 miles, but it's tiny little country roads, and the weather sounds like it's going to be atrocious with really heavy downpours. And some of those lanes are subject to flooding and wash off, as I call it. All the mud out of the field coming across the road, and can be quite dangerous. And it's a bonsai auction. Well, I'm going to an auction with probably no intention of buying anything, because it's going to be cash only. I don't carry cash on me. I'd have to go and get some, which is a big deal, so I might not go. I did tell one person, well, one person actually said, "Are you coming to our bonsai auction?" So it's obviously somebody who's involved, and at the time I said yes. But on reflection, the answer's probably going to be no. It's, you know, it would take up a lot of the day, and I probably wouldn't come back with anything. Right, what have we got here then? What we've got here is my stand to put my rubbish bags on, so that I can clear up the rubbish in the garden without needing somebody to hold the bags open for me. That's all this is, so as I say, it's nothing exciting. I mean, this actually took 6 days to arrive, so you know, it's just had a bit of a delay, so to speak. Right, are you going to fall all over the place and knock my coffee over? No. Right. Obviously goes up that way, and it's got a lid. And the only thing it hasn't got, and I couldn't find one that had anything that could do the job. And the job that I'm on about is, once this is constructed, you put your bag in here, like that. There's nothing to hold it there. What it could do with is a ring, just a fraction bigger than this. So you put your bag over and then you push the ring on, and it would hold the top of the bag in place, because as you put your stuff in, it's going to come off and fall down. I'm sure it is. So, and I couldn't find one that had that. So, you know, I thought, well, that's obviously something they haven't thought of, which is a bit poor as far as a design is concerned. Now, these two bits must come apart because one's the bottom and one's the top. So they must come apart. Yes, they do. Come on. There we go. And then, obviously these legs must just go on here. Just trying to look at the shape. Why have I got 4 when it's obvious I only need 2? No instructions, so there's no picture of what it's supposed to look like when it's put together. Well, let's. That obviously goes. Does it go on there? Are these different sizes? Because that doesn't seem to want to go on there. Oops. There's one fitted on. These are not going on easy. It might be because I've got that in the hand. Get rid of that. Use 2 hands. Just ease it over. Yeah, that's the way it works. And then really could do with a picture, couldn't it? Whoops. And then we've got. See, on the top there are only 2 places for that to fit in. And the bit that gets me is, where's this bit supposed to go? This is not obvious. I tell you what I have just discovered. What I just said about the bag, there's the ring. So it has got one. It didn't show that in the picture. So the bag goes on and then you put that down and it holds it in place. But what I don't get is how this fits on there. It all seems, this is all in one. I don't understand that at all. And I've got no pictures. Of course, if I use my brain. Duh. Would have been a bit short otherwise, wouldn't it? There we go. And then the lid goes up on there. That's yeah, job done. Yeah, that just goes on there like that. And that end goes on there like that. These bits don't line up very well, but they do eventually. They just need putting on at a bit of an angle. And the only thing that this hasn't, I suspect what I need to do is put that on the ground and lean on it. Yeah, then that gap just closes up. So there we go. Happy with that. I mean, it's a bit flimsy and a bit flippy floppy, but it's for putting clippings in, not rocks. You know, it's not got to hold any weight, has it? And it'll, you know, I deliberately got one that takes the larger bags. Yeah, so that's ready to go, and it's made of stuff that is perfectly happy outside, so it can live outside and not clutter up the place in here. And it has got a means to hold the bag in place. Yay! Right, so that's that. That and now enables me to start bagging up the pile out there, and it's amazing. We've had 2 very, very windy days, and in addition to that, the guy next door, when he did his hedge trimmer right over to the edge my side, all of his clippings fell down my side. They've gone all over the place, and the wind has blown them into places that they weren't. So there's a lot more mess out there to clear up than the pile. So it's a massive sweep up effort. I mean, it's all... Oh, let's get the camera off. So we've got all this now. All that was swept up tidy, so it's now all got to be swept up again. It's all in under the bench. All the edges that were nice and tidy, they've all filled up again. There's twigs and stuff all over the bushes. And out there where the gravel beds are, I'm still not absolutely sure how I'm going to clear that up. I've done... I'm not going out there, but the gravel bed at the back and the gravel bed on the left I've treated with weed killer. So you can see that's just stones, well, and dead leaves. Whereas these 2 beds are still very, very green. I've still got those to do. And what I plan on doing is I plan on doing those on a day when I'm out. So the cats will be shut in. So it's got to be a day when I'm out and it's not going to rain. And then I can mix up the stuff in the watering can and do one or both of those beds before I go out, and the cats will be shut in till I come home, and by then it'll be dry. Once it's dry, it's safe. So that's the plan for that. And if necessary, they'll have to stay in for a couple of days because I've got to de-weed that lot. So it's got to be done. Yeah, and then I would imagine that sweeping up out here is going to be like a regular job. You know, with all the leaves that are coming down off that oak tree and bits and pieces falling off that conifer tree, dead bits and stuff, it's going to be a constant job sweeping up. But once it's tidy, it's a 5-minute job to just push the broom round and pick it up and put it in a bag. So, you know, it will be worth doing because it will make it all look nice. It just fell over the box. More coffee. Roger's top tip. We come up with these bright ideas and then forget to do them, don't we? Top tip today is a very simple thing, but if you don't do it, it could cause you a problem depending on your viewpoint and how you like your Cymbidiums displayed. Now, unless you've got a genuine cascade Cymbidium, in which case the spikes will start arching as soon as they come out of the pot, yeah? And should be left to do so, which means your pot's got to go up quite high to allow for them to cascade down, if you like that sort of thing. However, if you've got an upright one, it's traditional to stake them upright. You need to do it early, because if you leave it too late, the buds will get their aspect formed inside, and then when they open, they'll all be sideways and upside down and all over the place. So you need to get the stake in and the spike where you want it as early as possible. But don't go too mad and do it too early. They do snap, and then you've lost your blooms for the year. So you can see I've done this one, and I've only put it, it's only connected very loosely, it's not tied, and then gradually this spike will extend and end up here somewhere, and it will get clipped as it goes. So as it extends and tries to arch over, because of the weight of the buds, it'll get clipped again. And the clips can go in the gaps, because the gaps are quite large as the spike grows. You can see the gaps on between the blooms on that one. So yeah, get your stake in early, make sure it's firm, and don't bend your spike too soon. And if it feels a bit tense, then don't do it all at once. Bend it a little bit and come back a few days later and bend it a bit more. So you can do that with a sort of, you know, a loose piece of twine or some raffia. You know, I could have tied this out here initially, because that's the angle it was coming out at. I could have tied it out here and then shortened it a bit and then shortened it a bit. But if it feels a bit tense, don't go mad. Like I said, they will snap and then you've lost your spike. So go steady. Yeah. So that's that. And the other thing we're supposed to add on the end is a little bit of humour. Well, this saying is not funny. It's deadly serious. But it's worth saying. In a world where you can be anything, why not be kind? And the other thing I forgot to say, the bit on the end, is I've ordered what will be a big box, and it'll be heavy. And it's a replacement for something that's been bugging me, that's been shelved. And I basically was in eBay, I saw it and I thought, actually that doesn't look bad. So I put it in my watch list, and I immediately got a response from the seller with quite a big discount. Are you interested? So I just said yes. Now I will want 2 of them, but I want to get one and see what they're like before I get the second one. Now it means I've spent quite a lot more money than I would have done going the other route, but ready-made. Anyway, it'll be you'll work out what it is. I'm not going to say, so we can have a genuine unboxing, as if I can lift it, and we'll go from there. So yeah, sometimes putting a little bit more money into something to save work, hassle, headaches and worries is worth it. So that's what I've done.